Yo, what is up, people? We are back with another Escape from Tarkov video, and this one is going to be my full settings guide. I'm going to try and break everything down underneath so you can click through, you can click on what bit that you actually want to watch. I'm going to try and do some sort of external optimizations, then my actual in-game settings, then my NVIDIA control panel, and then actually my color settings, so my post effects and stuff like that. And I'll explain how I'm able to see what I see on my monitor and why a lot of other people struggle. They say Tarkov's obviously really, really dark. So let's switch over straight away. And the first thing that I'm going to want you to do is open up your BSG launcher. And as soon as this pops up, there's very basic things you should be doing every single time that you load the game. You click game settings, you click logs, and you just delete these. You'll see that there's not very many for me. That's because I delete them all the time. You want to clear your cache as well. And then if you've got time, you click integrity check. I'm not going to click that now because it will stop me doing anything else for a couple of minutes. Do this pretty much every single time that you're about to load up the game. Make things just run a little bit smoother. Then I want you to go up into this top corner, click launcher settings, and you want to make sure that it says when I close the launcher window, exit the launcher, and when I launch the game, exit the launcher completely. Have those two set like that, and it just basically closes this down. When the game opens, runs a lot smoother. Scroll down a little bit, go to temp directory, click on temp directory. This will then open this up. You want to click up the top here, back to battle state games, open up EFT, go down to the escape from Tarkov.exe application, right click, click properties. And then on here, you want to go to the compatibility tab and make sure that you have disable full screen optimizations. And I have run this program as an administrator ticked. I pretty much run everything as administrator. This partly because I'm a streamer as well. So I have like Lumia, instruct bot and things running. And by having this as admin, I need to open those as admin so they can take over and take control. It's up to you. Test it out. Then you want to click change high DPI settings and then make sure that this button here is ticked. Override high DPI scaling behavior, scaling performed by, and then just application. Click OK, click apply, then OK. If you are somebody that plays Arena, this will work exactly the same, but you just make sure that you go back up to Battle State Games and go into the Arena folder, right click on Arena and do the exact same thing. After you've done that, you can close down the launcher quickly, and then I want you to type percent app data percent. So percent app data percent, boom, that'll open up this here. You want to go back to app data, click local, and go down to D3DS cache, sorry. And again, there's not that many here because I do this regularly. You want to delete all of these, and then I want you to go back to local, go all the way down to temp, open up temp, and just scroll down and delete every single one of these. So these will build up quite fast. Delete, it will probably pop up saying some of them cannot be deleted, and if it does, just tick the box, click skip, and we may be good. But yeah, that was 9,650 items, so boom, that is empty. That'll just help things to run a little bit smoother on your PC. And then the last one is just to open up game mode and make sure that you actually have this ticked or on. They're sort of the external optimizations that I do. Go for it. So now, guys, we have actually loaded up Escape from Tarkov. Just go down into the settings tab, right hand side. On game, I have both of these boxes here unticked. I actually run a separate RAM cleaner, which I will link down below. I'll explain that towards the end of the video. I then run 59 FOV. This is just personal preference, and head bobbing down at 0.2. None of this is really going to affect your actual performance. I feel like if you play at 75 FOV, your game does feel a lot sort of faster, but it doesn't actually increase the FPS. I think it's just due to the actual, the way the field of view affects the game. So graphics, borderless. Again, this is just because I stream. If you don't stream and you just literally play the game, you could play full screen. I have this borderless so that I can keep tabbing and going to different monitors. 16:10, this is personal preference. This isn't going to affect your FPS at all. And I have VSync on. I'll explain when we get into the NVIDIA control panel why I have VSync on. Then we have textures at high quality, shallow quality at low, 2.5 and 1000. The 2.5, if you go all the way down to 2, there's certain sites in the game like iron sites that just will not render in. So 2.5 is the way to go. And 1000 overall visibility, I feel like this is absolutely fine. Yes, sometimes things really far in the distance won't render in, but by rendering those in, your FPS is going to decrease. So better to have it on 1000. Clouds, low. Anti-aliasing, I have TAA high. I used to have TAA. I've just put it on high now, make things nice and kind of smooth on the edges. I know back in the day, a really good player used to have FXAA. This will improve your FPS. Just kind of hurts your eyeballs a little bit. It does sometimes make PMCs a little bit easier to see. If you wanted to run FXAA, go for it. But it makes things look very jittery. But it can help to make PMCs kind of shine in certain situations. So do what you want with that one. DLSS, I have off. The FSR and everything, I have all of these off. Obviously, if you're running on a very, very low end system, it might be worth trying the DLSS, but I don't need to with my current build. The resampling 1x off, HB80 off, and SSR I have on low. I have this on low just because, again, like some of the reflections that come from like windows, some of the water and things like that, some puddles, sometimes it can actually help with seeing PMCs if they're wearing visors. They can kind of reflect ever so slightly. So I actually have this on low instead of off. And then the anisotropic filtering we have per texture just kind of gives everything a little bit more, I don't know, realism, I guess. And then the NVIDIA Reflex low latency, obviously we have this off because we have VSync on. My sharpness I have up at 3. This is a confusing one for a lot of people. The reason I have it at 3 is because of the painkiller effect. So if you have this any lower than 3, when you pop a painkiller in game, the game basically puts your sharpness to max. It puts it at 3 by popping the painkiller. By me having it at 3, when I pop the painkiller, it makes absolutely no difference to what my screen looks like. So you don't end up going from like blurry screen to really sharpness and then like back to blur. Like that just doesn't happen for me. So yeah, trust me, have it set at 3 and then tweak your settings elsewhere, which I'll show you as we go along. And then down here, all of this is unticked apart from obviously the Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution mode, because running Streets is an absolute nightmare. Post effects. We don't run post effects. I will explain why as we go on. I tweak other settings, again, in my control panel, which I'll show you straight after this, as well as settings on my actual monitor. Sound settings, this is obviously not going to affect your FPS in any way. And keybinds, I'm not going to go through keybinds in this particular video. If you want me to, leave a comment down below. I will go through all of my keybinds. Yeah, a lot of people do actually ask me about these, so I'm probably going to do one anyway. But just let me know down below if you really want to see this. So let's save that. Let's get out of here. We'll get into the control panel. So now we'll go back to get into the nitty-gritty stuff. We're going to click show more options in the NVIDIA control panel. Now, this is where it gets a little bit crazy. This is where stuff really gets serious. So we're going to go up to the very, very top, which is adjust image settings with preview. And you just want to have the middle one ticked. Use the advanced 3D image settings. Boom, click apply. You're good on that one. Manage 3D settings. Now, on this one, if you tweak your global settings, what's going to happen is every single game and everything that you run on the PC are going to be affected by this. If you play other games and not just Escape from Tarkov, I would advise not doing this because it's going to affect everything. So then you want to click Program Settings. If you don't see Escape from Tarkov in this drop down, you need to click Add, and then you need to go and find wherever you've saved and stored Escape from Tarkov.exe. Once you click it, it will pop up here. I'm just going to quickly run through my settings as fast as I can. If you want to just copy these, that's entirely up to you. I'm not some computer wizard. I don't really understand all of them, but these are just what works for me. So, image scaling, use global setting. Anisotropic filtering, application controlled. Anti-aliasing, FXAA, off. Gamma correction, on. Mode, application controlled. Next one is transparency, which is off. Background application max frame rate, off. CUDA GPUs, all. CUDA sysmem fallback policy, driver default. Now, low latency mode, I have as ultra. So as I said, we have this as ultra in here. Then we have the reflex off within the game, and then VSync ticked. Max frame rate, you set this as the max frame rate for your particular monitor. I have a 240 Hertz monitor, so we've got mine at 240 FPS. Monitor technology, I have a G-Sync monitor, so G-Sync compatible. Multi-frame sampled AA, off. The GDI compatibility, auto. And then your rendering GPU, if you got more than one GPU, select the one that you want it to render on. Obviously, I just have one, but I don't click auto select. I actually click on my GPU. And then power management mode is prefer maximum performance. There are videos out there explaining how to get this power management mode enabled. I can't remember exactly how I did it. It's going into like your run stuff down in the bottom corner, pressing the Windows key and all that stuff. I'm not sure how I actually got it, but I have it selected. So YouTube a little video how to turn on this maximum performance mode and then have this ticked. The preferred refresh rate, I have the highest available. Anisotropic sample optimization on. Negative LOD bias, allow. Texture filtering quality, high performance. Trilinear optimization is on. Threaded optimization is on. This is because I have a Ryzen CPU that has, is it like auto threading or something? Again, I'm not some little wizard. Intel CPUs, some people say to have this off. I think it all comes down to like the different cores and stuff within the CPU. So if you want to have a little look into that, go for it. I have this on. So if you just want to purely copy it, go for it. triple buffering off, and then VSync off within the control panel because it is on within the game. You need to make sure that it's off here and on within the game. So next one, the configure surround physics doesn't really matter. Change resolution. Now you need to make sure that you have your monitor selected and then the maximum refresh rate. Some people forget to do this, or it will just default down to some lower setting. Make sure that you are selecting your highest refresh rate. Again, click apply. Adjust desktop color settings. Now this is very, very important. This is why I'm able to see in the dark. I'm able to spot things in the distance that a lot of people don't see. But trust me, like, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It is very, very bright. So brightness is at 50%, contrast at 55%. My gamma is at 2.1, which is very, very, very bright. Okay, like, so in those dark corners, interchange within the resort, in dorms, etc., I can see perfectly fine. Doesn't really matter. I actually loaded into a night raid yesterday with that friendly guy on woods. He couldn't see anything, and I was just like, well, I'm good. I'm actually fine. I can literally see even though it's like nighttime. So this works. Digital vibrance, I have this set all the way up to 100. This is just to obviously make things as colorful as possible. And by doing this, people that are wearing like the Twitch Rivals armbands, if they are wearing like Untar armor, which is bright blue, if they have pilgrims on, it just makes things pop and you just spot them even easier than normal. So digital vibrance, whack this to 100. Yes, it's going to make, if you're watching YouTube videos and stuff on your monitor, might look a little bit different, but trust me, it works. The rest of these aren't that big of a deal. Adjust desktop size and position. So again, click on your monitor, make sure that it's the correct resolution, refresh rate, and then no scaling, and then just perform scaling on the GPU. But obviously you're not scaling, so that's all well and good. Setup G-Sync, so you have this set. Again, I have it for windowed and full screen mode because I play in borderless. And then the multiple displays and stuff, this only really affects you if you're running multiple displays and Elgato capture cards and things like that. The color settings and the image settings I do not use. So that's pretty much it for the control panel. So the last little thing that I want to show you guys is the auto RAM cleaner that I use. Obviously, I said earlier on within the actual game, I have the RAM cleaner turned off. It is because I run this little program down here. So this is called the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. You will see that I have 64 gigs of RAM. So it says like 65,000. And you'll see that things are obviously ticking, basically. Other programs and stuff where it's just using up your RAM. So because I have 64 gig, I have, so that when my free memory goes below 48 gig or 48,000 megabytes, this RAM cleaner will basically just clear up all those background sort of processes and stuff that's going on. It's not just going to randomly start closing applications. It's not that crazy, but it basically just ends up purging whatever RAM is kind of being wasted. So over here, wanted timer resolution is 0.5. By clicking stop, I can then alter these. So I have this as 0.5. First one is ticked, then unticked. ISLC polling rate, have this set as 500. And then, like I say, my free memory. So when it goes lower than 48 gig, it will just purge this standby list. So you'll see here, if I click start, and then I open up, I don't know, we'll open up this, and then we'll click on random stuff and whatnot. If I open up random programs, this will start slowly increasing because it is using up my RAM. If I then click purge standby list, this goes all the way back down, and then it'll obviously gradually go up because things are being used. This program's just an absolute dream. It just works in the background. You just minimize it and it'll just chill down here and it'll just keep your PC running smooth throughout the day. It's honestly, I'll leave a link down below. You can grab that, input your settings. What a lot of people do recommend, if you're running like 32 gigs of RAM, just have this set as 16,000. So it's just when your RAM gets to half, it'll just purge the standby list. It'll basically just get rid of all the little background applications that are running, and everything just continues to run as smooth as possible. So last but not least, guys, as I mentioned, the things that you guys see on the stream when I'm playing Escape from Tarkov isn't what I see with my own eyes. I do have filters on my OBS. So basically, anyone that's never used OBS, when I input my capture card or the game capture, you can then add filters to increase the gamma, the contrast, and all that kind of stuff. Whatever I've done in the control panel will not pass through OBS because that's just affecting my monitor, okay? So I do have filters that then affect the actual game capture that you see your end when you're watching the stream or when you're watching videos. And then on top of that, on my monitor itself, and this is going to be different for every single person. If you do want to try and copy some of these, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to go into the menu. So I'm now pressing like the buttons underneath my monitor. My black equalizer, if you have a black equalizer on your monitor, I have this set at 10 currently. I then go down to picture, and I have my brightness at 100, my contrast at 100, and my sharpness at 80. Like I mentioned earlier, like I have my sharpness set in a certain way so that when I pop painkillers, it doesn't really affect the monitor. Then if I go into my color, these are things that you probably will be able to copy. I have my red at 45, green at 48, and blue at 50. If you want to copy those across, that's entirely up to you. And then I use a Samsung Odyssey G7. It says gamma mode is 1, whatever that means. Other than that, guys, there is no more that I can possibly add to any of this. But like I say, if I'm able to see in the very dark corners of Tarkov, I'm able to spot things really, really far in the distance. The shadows, the little light flickers that I mentioned due to the TAA, the FXAA, and stuff like that. If you just want to purely copy everything that I've said, go for it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know how you get on with the settings. I will break this video up as much as possible so that you can actually see what section and copy that specific section. If you've enjoyed it, it would be very, very much appreciated if you could just like the video, leave a comment down below. Even if you're not actually interested in anything that I've said, just say, great vid. That'd help me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I can catch you over in the Twitch streams at twitch.tv/iminiman. I stream 10 AM until 5 PM UK time, Monday to Friday. I'll see you there. Much love. Peace out. Bye-bye.